Next up, we have Vital Mechanics, Dinesh Kpai. And in previous 3D Tech Fest, you've actually heard what he is talking about. But he's going to be exploring deeper how to use AI to make better apparel using personalized soft avatars and enhanced fit. Dinesh, we can't wait to see what you have. Please join us.
Yeah, thank you, Janice, and the Alvanon team for organizing this very exciting 3D Tech Festival. So I think we're going to play a short introductory video to introduce what Vital Mechanics does for people who are not very familiar with us. So, Brooke, are you able to do that? Yeah, thank you so much. So, um, by the way, I think this is the first tech festival since the AI exploded on the scene out of research labs onto newspaper headlines. So, this is a very timely event. So, I'd love to say a bit more about it. Of course, there's been a huge amount of hype about AI. Will AI make fashion industry better, or will it make it worse? Will you help you make better garments, or will it help you fake it more? I'm going to try to unpack this for you with a very simple framework. But I think it's simple, but I think it captures the essence. The basic problem is that our actions have consequences. They change the future, and the future can be fantastic or it can be deadly. So, to reduce risks, we build models so that we can predict the consequences ahead of time and safely. And this is not just for like $1 billion company making a rocket ship. This is what our brains do all the time when we play a game or when we think about what to have for lunch. And by the way, this is what digital computers were initially invented for. So, Vital Fit is a model that takes its input and predicts fit. Now, the popular huge AI models like GPT work in exactly the same way. The critical difference is that we can now build huge models based on training with an internet full of data. And so that's why when Janice typed her prompt into ChatGPT, it gave an impressive and coherent answer because it was trained on a big part of the internet. But fundamentally, you should think of it as the same idea. You have a model, you ask a question, it gives you a prediction. So the key questions for you are, how did you make that model? And what do you want to do with the answer? So let me give you an example. So just this last week, we were hit by a lot of bad weather, tropical storms, bomb cyclones. So you may be worried about your safety and the safety of your loved ones and your property. You don't want a tree to fall on your house. So you can use a digital model to predict what may happen. So one thing you can do is to use an AI model like DALI and get an image of what property damage will look like. So there it is. It's pretty amazing what you can do in just a few minutes. Of course, if you look a bit closely, some details are weird, but it's still very impressive. So this is what I mean by fake it. It looks very plausible, but it tells you very little about what might actually happen to your house. It can be very valuable, of course. For example, if you want to make a movie or if you want to scare people into buying home insurance, it's fantastic. But what if you're trying to make a tough life or death decision? Should I evacuate my house to save my family? So then you need good data. You need to actually understand how storms work. You need to study fluid mechanics, measure real storms, and then your model's predictions can be informative. Of course, they won't be perfect. There's still uncertainty. The storm may move or change in its intensity, but the information is actionable, and it probably saves thousands of lives and billions of dollars of property damage each year. And this is what I mean by make it. So that's why I believe we should treat modeling in all of the apparel industry as a science. So we need to measure and validate. We need to close the loop. If we take this blue road through a model, we should get back as close as possible to reality. And that journey starts with the data. Where's your data coming from? There's an old story that you might have heard about a drunk looking for keys under a lamppost. A passerby stops by and says, can I help you? And looks for the keys. And after a while asks him, are you sure you lost your keys here? And the drunk says, no, I lost it in the park, but it's too dark there. I'm looking here under the light. Now, data is your key to building a good model. And in the age of AI, this problem has become much worse. We are drunk on data. There's a temptation to just rely on the big data that's available on the internet. You should remember that the internet is vast, but it doesn't have everything. It may not have the data you need, or worse, it may have the wrong data. There's an old saying in computer science, garbage in, garbage out, and it's still valid today. So that's why when we started Vital Mechanics, we started by trying to understand how tissues behave with a multi-year research project with the University of British Columbia. We measured hundreds of participants with a novel tissue probe. And this data helped us to understand the distribution of tissue properties over the body and to create our Vital Fit avatars. We have validated our model with several types of garments. This is an example, an early example actually, that we made of a sports bra to show that our soft avatars can capture realistic profiles when wearing the sports bra. Here's another example of a larger size fit model wearing light compression shorts. The predictions aren't perfect, but it's worthwhile to compare and to get some confidence that you are having actionable information. So we have tested Vital Fit with many different types of garments, including complicated garments, garments like bras with underwire. We'd love to work with Iteration. We just gave a fantastic presentation for testing all these new types of designs with Vital Fit. Now, Jason, in his introduction, and also Safir just now, made excellent points about how important it is to have scalability in the technology. So we have architected the software from the beginning to be easy to access and to be able to run fit tests at scale on the internet. And by the way, if you use vStitcher, it's particularly easy to run Vital Fit tests. So with a couple of mouse clicks with our plugin, you can run a Vital Fit test at any time. Now, I want to give you a preview of a couple of AI research projects that we are working on using Vital Fit technology. So you may remember that we have measured hundreds of participants in the lab, and we still continue to do so, but it's quite expensive to get this kind of data. So the question is, can we predict soft tissue properties from the data you can easily get, for example, from a phone? So the answer is yes, we can. By training a neural network model with our data, we can approximate tissue properties very quickly from the shape of the hard avatar and a few extra pieces of information. Another example is pattern adjustment. Now, if you have trustworthy fit tests, you can learn to make the pattern adjustments directly based on fit attributes. So, for example, here in this example I'm showing, the pressure is predicted by Vital Fit to be a bit too high on the left shoulder, and say you want to reduce it. How do you change the pattern to reduce the pressure? So, with a simple interface, you can paint on the garment the reduced pressure that you want, and then the learned model can predict the pattern adjustments automatically. So you can see from this result on the right that the pressure is actually reduced. So these are two examples of projects that are still in the research stage and need a few more improvements. But I believe that these are the types of applications of AI that can really help you make it. To end, I want to leave you with a few take-home messages. So first of all, I hope I've convinced you that the quality of the data is important. If you put garbage in, you know what comes out of the other end. Second, you should remember what business you're in. If you want to make it, you need to close the loop back to reality. And finally, AI is here. AI is real. It's not a fad. It will amplify all your powers to fake it, and also your powers to make it. Thank you.
I am so excited about all of the things that you've actually done in the year that we've seen when we first saw the first thing that you did, and we're so excited to at one point be able to integrate all of this, even also to kind of the things that we're doing, because the fact of the matter is that it takes a lot of research, and being on a board of researchers, I recognize how much the scientists really need to be part of this, and I particularly like your look today. It is the Steve Jobs, the black turtleneck look. So thank you so much for actually enlightening us, and also telling us a lot about the kind of garbage in, garbage out. I think throughout the day, what we've been talking about really is, the substance and integrity of actually ground truth is the most important thing, because it can be so easy for us to actually diverge, right? And get
Yes.
really bad conclusions.
Yes, it's absolutely it's a really dangerous and powerful time because we can create new images so easily, and it can be used to cause disinformation, but you can also use it to enhance your knowledge and your predictions of the future.
So thank you so much, Dinesh.